Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. The other two are just along for the ride. Kirk, say hi.
Hello.
And Hunter, say what's up.
What's up, guys?
We're here with Hunter Stovall, the farmhand of the Rockies organization. He's just spending a Sunday night with us, talking ball, talking what the 2021 season was like, and just kind of his journey. First and foremost, congratulations on the marriage. What, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. Been fun little 2 weeks.
How was the honeymoon, and where'd you go?
It was great. We went to Emerald Bay in the Bahamas, and it was everything that I wanted it to be. So we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves.
That's cool. And I have to ask, because everybody asked this when we got married, and it was super irritating. Does it feel any different being married?
But the only thing that's different is us. Like, I just bought a house here in Auburn, so the only thing's different is us living together and being around each other all the time. Because, like I said earlier, she's from Louisiana, I'm from Alabama, so we had that 6-hour gap. So I mean, we'd spend a week at a time with each other here, week at a time with each other there. But now that we're together all the time, it's great. But that's the only thing that I would say is the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And of course, paying for everything now.
There'll be some bills that are hidden that you won't see, and they'll just kind of creep up on you.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah.
So how did that work out during the season? You being up in Spokane, and she just hang out down in Louisiana?
Yeah, it was rough. She was she had a job, so she had to work that job. So I mean, she only got to visit me 1 week during the whole season. So it was kind of rough, but it was and that's something that I explained to her when we first started getting into it. I said, hey, this is what I do. This is what comes with it. So she's been awesome through it all. So I couldn't complain any with that.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. I love love. Love is cool. That's awesome. Sweet. All right, let's get into it. So you are an athlete, and me and Kirk were trying to figure this out because the research that we did, we couldn't find it. You were being recruited out of high school. So we're going to play a little game. I'm sorry. You were recruited out of high school for football. We're going to try to play a game at what position you were being recruited by Auburn, Miami, Florida State from. Okay. My guess is I'm going D-line, outside D-line.
I went running back.
Okay. I was actually recruited as a quarterback.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. Aaron said that there's no way he got recruited at 5'8" for quarterback.
I was just saying the stature doesn't meet up.
They were 100% expecting me to grow.
Okay.
And I didn't. And I was like, it was fun. I loved football. Football was awesome. It was almost kind of dangerous for me because of my size, and I played quarterback, but I also played defense. I returned punts. I did all of it. Mm-hmm. So with my size, getting up in the higher levels of high school football, I would hit you wide open, and I'm not a big guy. So most of the time I would either sometimes come out on the better end of it, but most of the time I was coming out on the bad end of it. And Dad was I actually hit a guy, quarterback, did a little toss sweep, went to carry out my fake. The running back actually reversed field and came up. And at the time we were playing Carver Montgomery, and one of their linebackers was committed to Alabama. And I ended up in some weird way, being the lead blocker. And I didn't have a problem with it. But I hit this dude wide open trying to block him. And somewhere in the air, I got turned, and I ended up on the bottom. He ended up on the top. And when we landed, I landed on this right shoulder, and that's the first thing that hit the ground. He landed on top of me, and I separated the AC joint. And I couldn't pick up my shoulder. I couldn't do nothing. And then that's kind of when I was like, yo, I'm not going to grow any. I need to get up out of this before I end my whole athletic career doing something stupid. But yeah, there's actually videos and stuff on YouTube of me quarterbacking and all that good stuff.
Might have to go find that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's my eighth grade year and freshman varsity deal.
Okay. So you were starting quarterback as a freshman.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming your sophomore year is when that injury happened?
No. Yes.
Yeah. Shortly after that. All right.
Yep.
And then so then I'm assuming you were that dude that played all the sports growing up, like all the seasons, switched up. So then did you just focus on baseball right after that, or?
Yeah, I played basketball, football, and baseball, and I was classified as the tone setter in basketball. I played basketball a little too much like football, so it was a very trying time for my parents because somebody would slap me on this side of the court, and I know it wouldn't call a foul. So I said, "I'm getting my money's worth." So I'd hustle them down, and I'd foul the crap out of them on the other end of the court, but yeah, right after that injury happened, I said, yeah, I think baseball is where it's at for me, and that's when I started focusing on it solely.
You made a smart business decision.
Yes, I would have to say so. Yeah.
Yeah, because it played out, right? You were named Alabama Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year in 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible stats and just ridiculous numbers for a senior in high school. So then you probably were recruited by Auburn and Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. How did that whole recruitment go, and how'd you lean on the Dogs?
Well, growing up my whole life, I've been an Auburn fan. I wanted to go to Auburn University my whole life. Pulowski, I can't remember his first name, but Pulowski was the coach at Auburn at the time that I was getting recruited, and they knew that I was an Auburn fan at heart. My uncle went to Auburn, played football at Auburn. My first cousin, Tyler, who got drafted in the second round to the Braves in 2008, had a full ride to Auburn out of high school, and Auburn was kind of just in line for me, and that's where I wanted to go and everything. And then I got to the offer, and we were kind of disappointed in the offer that they threw on the table. And we assumed just because they thought they had me because I was such a big Auburn fan and all this good stuff. And then that next weekend, we went to Starkville, and it was just Butch Thompson, which is crazy because he's here at Auburn now. But it was crazy because that's who recruited my cousin when he was at Auburn before he went to state. And now here we go. He's recruiting me as a catcher to Mississippi State. And I ain't ever heard no Mississippi State, nothing like that. I was like, oh, let's go try it out. And I get there, and they blew us away with an offer. And they wanted us bad, wanted me bad. And I fell in love with the place, small town, country feel. I'm a country boy. And went back the next weekend, and we told Auburn, we said, hey, this is what Mississippi State has offered. If you can match this or whatever, we'll come. And they didn't. And that's that. And to this day, I 100% made the best decision of my life going to Mississippi State.
Absolutely. I mean, you had some numbers there at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
You made the CWS in the 2018. You were part of that team. You were named all tournament team that season over at second base.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask, because you actually played against Willie McIver, who's a friend of the pod also in Washington that first game. Did you guys talk about that at all? Did you ever?
Oh yeah, we talked about
it a little bit.
The crazy part is like I played the position that I had no idea that he played third base until he explained to me, hey, when we were playing against y'all in the College World Series, I was playing third base. I was like, dude, I thought you were a catcher. But that's what's crazy. But yeah, we talk about it all the time. He gets a little mad that the way the game ended and all that good stuff. But I enjoy it. Willie's a great guy. I love Willie to death.
Yeah, he was fun. He was fun to talk to.
Yeah.
So did you smack his butt on the way in that game when you scored the game-winning run?
No. If I'd have known him like I know him now, yes, I would have.
that would have been a fun story to bring back around. That's sweet. So what was cooler, being at the College World Series, winning a few games, or like being drafted?
Well, of course, playing in Omaha was kind of like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I mean, you look at the odds of that happening, and it's slim to none. But it's the same way with being drafted. Being drafted was, I mean, that's been my lifelong dream, and not only being drafted, but actually playing in the major leagues. So that I got to notch the whole drafted part on the belt, but I'm not done. And College World Series, I'm gonna be honest with you, growing up, that never popped into my mind until I got into college and was like, yo, this could happen. And then playing in front of 30,000 fans in Omaha was awesome. It was I hadn't been a part of anything like it so far. Hopefully I can get something a little play in front of something a little bigger than that, but that place was amazing. But being drafted was it was crazy, just because the whole draft process that I went through was it was difficult for me, just because of some of the stuff that I did do that junior year of college, and really since my freshman year, just produce, and then the draft comes and you kind of get slapped in the face, and it's kind of that's something that I've had to deal with my whole life is people because of my size, and which is crazy. This is a crazy statistic for you. I was 5'7". What do you think I weighed my junior year of college?
Let's say $165.
I weighed 155 pounds.
155.
And now I'm weighing about 175, 180. So I've gotten a little thicker, but I didn't realize how small I was. And I understand what other people are seeing all this. They're like, oh yeah, this dude's tiny, blah, blah, blah. But then again, I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, I'm the smallest player in the SEC and I'm hitting in the 4-hole for Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the cleanup hitter. I mean, I'm not putting up the power numbers, but I'm getting it done. But it's just, that's what's crazy about baseball. It's that stuff that I've battled my whole life. It just fuels me. And that's the way I look at it every day. I had to learn big time this year on how to take the negative parts of what I think is negative, of maybe having to sit here and there and do this and that, and just trying to make them positives, man. Because the whole saying of, when you get to the level we're at, the talent level is not, it's very, very right there. I mean, there's a line and everybody's at it.
Right.
But the biggest part of success and failure and being able to handle failure during a major or a professional baseball season is you got to be your mentality's got to be there. And that's what I got really good with that this year. And hopefully I can carry it on. And I learned a lot of good stuff and I actually paid attention to my thoughts and all that good stuff. And so this year was definitely a huge learning year on the mental side for me.
Yeah, we've been hearing that a lot. Like, we talked to a few other guys in the system, and they're saying the mental health coach has been super helpful, and like finding that part of baseball, especially after all that we went through in 2020 and that nonsense, right? So like finding you, like Kirk and I and James, the third guy, we have conversations about that all the time, like checking in on each other, making sure we're good, and like what do we need to help to support you, like as friends and all that kind of stuff. So once you figure that out, like I feel like it's just a whole nother level that you never knew was achievable, you know? Like I'm healthy mentally. That means I can just be a little bit better at everything else I can be, and it can just take you so much farther.
Exactly.
That's a huge deal. That's cool that you found it, that you figured it out. That means only good things from here then, right? That's cool.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go into what you just said, because I'll just say I'm shorter than you are. So I like hearing what you just said is like exactly how I feel like throughout my whole life. Mm-hmm. And there's always something to prove. And like the public sees it as a negative thing with most situations, but like I feel like I would be a completely different person with like work ethic and just like you said, trying to make the negatives into a positive, where like it's almost an advantage, especially on the mental side of it.
100%. Just because, I mean, you got to look at it. Everybody, you got your 6-foot guys, you got all this. They've never been in the shoes of a little guy that seriously gets doubted in everything. And that's the biggest thing. I heard one of the scouts say when I was going through college, hey, professional baseball is going to be hard. And I love that, because I don't want it to be a breeze. I love the challenge. But you got your 6'5", your 240-pound power guys, all these high draft picks. The way he explained it to me was they have to prove every single day that they cannot play. You, as the little guy, you're going to have to go out there and do everything right. You're going to have to bust your butt, give 100%, 110% effort every single day, and prove that you can play. And that's the difference.
Yeah. I bet that you
That's
are
good.
your hardest critic, and any little mistake is like, I imagine it hits you harder than like if another guy would make a mistake, because it just like impacts the way people view you so much more, like just way more to prove in that situation.
Yep. And that's why, and I'm nowhere near a perfectionist in anything but baseball. Maybe hunting. I love to be perfect in hunting, but baseball is definitely a game where I take very seriously. And then, like you said, I'm sometimes a little hard on myself, harder than I need to be. But I feel like if I don't do that, then when I do that, the way I take it is I'm only making myself better. Because you see some guys, they'll be sitting here, they'll make errors like, oh yeah, whatever. I make an error or I don't get a job done at the plate. Man, I got to have my little 15-second window to kind of get my anger out, and then I got to get past it. But I'm gonna have that little. I'm gonna be upset, and that's the big thing about baseball now that kind of changed for me is everybody. I don't know. I feel like nobody takes it real personal no more. Everybody's just out there playing, and you got to have fun. But I mean, baseball's personal. If you don't take it personal, then it's kind of hard to succeed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's a big thing too. Like we're finally seeing the emotion. We're finally seeing baseball be fun. Mm-hmm. And you also see the other side of the emotions scale, right? You see the anger, the frustration come out too. And that's completely okay. It's all right. Hunter struggled.
Okay.
He showed his anger.
Okay to an extent. Yeah.
Right. As long as it doesn't beat you up, you know, like you see him and then you run back out and you're back at second, you're doing the grounders, you're good. Like you're not eating yourself up about it and like making sure that emotion's there. And I think that's just, it's finally okay to do that and see it. And I think that just makes people better at baseball and better at everything. Yep. Like you can just show like, you know what, I am human. I make a mistake. I'm going to be mad about it. And that's okay. And then I'm going to come back and be better from it and just watch this and watch me hit 390 in a 21 game hit streak in the high A, or hit what'd you hit 340, 350 this year?
Me, I hit 316.
316. The OBP was close to 400.
Yeah.
So like I would say you got it down mentally, right? Like you don't hit 21 straight games if you don't have that mental strength, right? So how much did you think about that streak when you were all up in it? Like,
honestly, I was at a point in the season where, and I mean, you go through your highs and lows in a baseball season. Everybody does, and at that point right there, I was in a high, and I was enjoying it, and I was having a great time, and that during that hit streak is where I figured out the mental part of my game. And that's where I figured out how to actually go up to the plate and have an approach and pick pitches here, pick pitches there, read counts. Like I've heard about all that stuff, but I actually was like, hey, I'm feeling really good. Let's try this today. Let's try this the next day. And it fell all into play. I mean, it was awesome. And I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better to go during that whole streak. I mean, my brain was working because most of the time I get to the plate and I'm not a thinker. I get up there and I see ball, hit ball. I'm trying to just hit it where it's pitched, all that good stuff. But I was at a point where I was actually comfortable thinking in the box, and now I won't go back to what I was doing before. I mean, it was crazy.
And it's nuts because you've been a hitter your entire life, right? You've always been able to hit the ball. And then now you just unlocked that next level that you didn't even realize. And here you are just making noise. And it's cool as hell to see, like drafted 22nd round, 21st round, and fighting for everything you just said. And now like you had to have been at the top of the league in batting average. I did get a chance to look it up.
Yeah. I was second. I had one guy that I was trying to catch that was with the Emeralds, and I couldn't. That fool hit like 3. He went during our little playoff series. He was like 9 for 11, something like that. I was like, this dude right here. He's just, he's smacking it. So
So like that's cool. That's cool as hell. I love
Yeah.
hearing that. That's awesome. So is your nickname really the Hitman?
I get called it every now and then. Yeah.
What is the go-to nickname?
Stovey.
Stovey.
Covey. Yeah.
That works.
So I'm kind of curious, like, being a little bit undersized, do you notice a tendency in the way pitchers approach pitching you compared to other people?
Well, honestly, no. The biggest thing I would say is everybody with this spin rate stuff nowadays, they love pitching to the top of the zone. And I'm gonna tell you this, for an umpire, it's kind of hard to find a zone with me. So they don't know, because I get the good in and out calls, but the up and down calls sometimes don't really go my way just because I am short and I'm a big above the knee guy with the pants, and they say something with that does something to the, I don't know. But that would be the thing. If a pitcher was going to throw me differently, they would pitch me up.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because they get a lot of those calls that look like they're at the top of the strike zone. Like say Willie's in there, for example. That pitch that's at my neck is at his letters. So that's a strike on him. That ain't a strike on me. So it's kind of hard when a umpire gets in a rhythm to differentiate that zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I play in like just a Sunday league thing, and that's my biggest thing is like they're throwing it shoulder high, calling strikes, and I'm like, I can't do anything about that, but that's normal for the next guy up or the guy before me, so that's kind of interesting that you experience the same thing.
Yep.
So then how have you managed like controlling your zone then for that? Because like if they're calling that, you have to expand your zone a little bit, right? Because your strikeout rate is pretty low considering that, and like you're still able to, with all that said, like you're still able to not strike out as much.
Yeah, I've had a 2-strike approach ever since my sophomore year of college, and I've stuck with it, and it works for me. And there are a lot. I try not to chase as much. I try not to go after those pitches as much early in the count, just because early in the count, of course, you're looking to do some damage, this, that. But I've always had this weird deal where I've been able to hit balls, 2 balls, 3 balls off the plate, find the barrel on it somehow. And whether it be outside, up, down. So when them 2 strikes, if it's anywhere close, I'm about a 65% swing effort, and I'm trying to put the barrel on the ball. It don't matter where it's at. And me and Dad have a drill where he'll just get there if he's tossing to me. Some of my buddies, we do it, and he'll be throwing balls all over the place, up in my face, way in, way up and out, and I got to try to put a barrel on it. And that's kind of what we work on, and it helps because you get a guy in the box that can do something like that. The pitchers are like, dude, I'm better off maybe throwing a strike. Because but that's one of my, I live with 2 strikes. I'm the other way. That's my approach. Other way, oppo gap. And you throw a ball, 2 balls off the plate, to me, that's especially if it's a fastball, I am like, yes. Thank you. But
you just described my approach at the plate with old man softball. I am trying to go the other way, just going to dink it over the first baseman. I'm just going to turn the corner. But and you don't see that approach very often. And like, I guess you have to see that amongst yourselves and your teammates in your league, like how your 2-strike approach is, contact and stuff, where others might be all or nothing type swings.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in every organization that I've seen through spring training, through the season, through even watching the big league games, is there's really, they may say they have one, but then you watch their swing and they're trying to hit a ball 450 feet.
Right.
And it's hard to do. To win games, you got to be on base. And that's the way I look at it. And yeah, I could mess up and hit one over the fence, but I think it's a lot better for me to be on base and possibly steal a bag or get one of the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think if I was to sit up there and try to swing for the fence every time, that strikeout rate would be way higher.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure,
Yeah.
right? Like just the numbers say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I sound like an old curmudgeon man. Like I miss the two strike approach. Like go choke up on the bat, get the ball in play, make something happen. Like,
well, I mean that's the way baseball is nowadays. Baseball lives for the long ball.
Yeah.
And very, very high strikeout rates, and that's, I mean, it is what it is, but that's not the way that I play.
And I appreciate the way you play. We haven't had anybody that went through it, so I want to ask you, what was it like being traded in 2019? Like, was that just a whirlwind? Did you know about it? Blindsided? Like, how did that all happen?
I was 100% blindsided. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in West Virginia. I was with the Asheville Tourists in the Rockies organization. I was in West Virginia playing the Power. We were 10 minutes from leaving the locker room to go out and stretch. And our manager called me in the office, and I was like,
this is weird.
Well, these are two things that popped in my head. I'm either about to get cut or I'm about to get promoted. And trading, I'd been in professional baseball for a year. I had no idea. I was like, there ain't no shot. This is not, they ain't even think about that. It never popped in my head. But I get in there and he said, okay, sit down. I got something for you. He put Zach Wilson, which was our farm director at the time, on the phone. And he said, hey, man, we just I'm in full uniform. I got my glove, my bat, my helmet, everything, about to go out on the field. Hey, man, we just traded you to the Philadelphia Phillies. Thank you for all that you've done. Best of luck. You leave at 6 a.m. We'll be in touch with the rest of the details. And that was it.
That was it?
That was it.
Holy shit.
And I'm sitting here like, I looked at our manager. I said, y'all playing? Is this real? They're like, yeah, man, thank you and all this stuff. So I called Dad and I was like, and I couldn't get Dad. I couldn't get my mom or Dad on the phone. And I was what is going on? I said, the one time that I actually need them to answer the phone, they can't answer the phone. And then about 30 minutes later, Dad calls me back and I said, dude, I just got traded. He goes, dude, what are you doing? Are you in the locker room on your phone? Go out there and go out to the game. What are you doing? I was like, dude, I just got traded. He was like, oh my God. To who? I said, the Phillies. So that next day was, I had to take jersey off. They wouldn't let me be in the dugout. I didn't even stay at the game or nothing. So I just went back to the hotel. I had to leave, fly out of Charlotte or wherever I was at 6 a.m., flew to Charlotte, got picked up by a guy in about an 18-4 minivan, drove me from Charlotte to Asheville. I went to the apartment that I had rented out with a few of my buddies and grabbed as much stuff as I could and threw it in that minivan. The Lakewood Blue Claws, which was the Phillies group that I was joining, was in Hickory, North Carolina, which was about another 2-hour drive. So I had to drive all the way there, unload all my stuff into the locker room when I got there, put on a jersey. I got there right at game time. Put on a jersey, put on pants, go sit in the dugout with a bunch of kids that I've never met in my life. And then after that game, I had to get back on the bus for a 14-hour bus ride back to Lakewood.
No.
That was that day for me.
They couldn't give you a day.
So it was a day that I will never forget. And it was a weird transition, man. It was because I just got comfortable with all the guys that I was playing with, knew a bunch of them. And then they'd sit there and tell me, hey, you just got traded one for one with a big league lefty, which was James Bezos.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what does that mean? Is that a good thing? What is that? And they were like, yeah, dude, that's a pretty cool deal. And then, man, I get to Lakewood, and I don't know what the deal was with the Phillies. Like, I sat there and I played 3 times, 4 times, maybe a week, and I'm sitting here getting fed all this stuff, and I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to think about all this. And then the whole COVID deal hit, and I ended up getting released by them. And I called the Rockies, called my agent, called the guy that drafted me, and they said, "Hey, brother, hang in there. We're going to try to get it done." And sure enough, they they pulled through and got me back with the squad. So
that's
cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So did you prefer coming back to the Rockies organization just because you were familiar with it and knew the people there?
Yes. I thoroughly enjoy playing for the Rockies. Just the people in the organization, the way it's ran. It's everybody is nice. It was it's a good place to be. 100%.
That's really great to hear from like a fan perspective. Just knowing that, at least in the minors area, like you guys really enjoy playing for the Rockies organization.
Yeah. That's been kind of the consensus with all the people we talked about, all the dudes we talked to. Like, they just really treated us well. But
we're treated like professionals. We're not treated like children.
That's cool.
It's awesome.
You didn't really necessarily feel that in the other organization?
Yeah, it was here and there, but of course there's a lot more with the Phillies. There was way more younger kids, younger Latins, younger, just there was, I was playing with, we had like 4 or 5 guys on the team that I was with that were 18 years old. And we had like curfews and all this stuff. And I was just like, dang, I'm 23 years old and got me a curfew.
I did this in Mississippi. I'm good. Yeah, that's wild. So let's bring up the tone a little bit. That's wild. What do you prefer? Hitting a triple or hitting a homer?
Say it again.
What do you prefer to hit? A triple or a homer?
A homer.
A homer. It's still okay. I've never been fast, so like me thinking about hitting a triple would just be super, super cool.
Yeah, triples are awesome now, but we had a running joke this year on the team. There'd be a lot of people. Our field was kind of uneven at spots.
Yeah, a little wonky.
Yeah, and so you'd round second base, and it was almost like you're running uphill to third. So every time somebody hit a triple, when you rounded first base, you'd almost fall down every time. It don't matter who you were. And we kind of had a running joke with that, with the triples. But yeah, I think I definitely hit a home run over a triple.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have the option to jog, might as well take that,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not really one to pimp stuff, but I'll definitely jog around the bases.
What do you prefer playing? You played most of your time at third, second, and left this season. You can play all the corners. You can play pretty much anywhere in the infield. You caught in high school. Read a few. You were doing some catching drills a few years ago.
Yeah.
What is the ideal spot that you're most comfortable playing?
Second base would be ideal, but seriously, anywhere in the infield. Yeah, I'm comfortable everywhere. And that's what I actually got a little talk about this during this offseason. I need to get back into my catching because they may throw me back there next year.
Oh, wow.
And that's fine with me.
Yeah, as long as you're out there doing your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the catching depth in the organization is a little light right now, so it'd be cool seeing you out there. And then you are working on a camp right now.
We're about to crank up some camps. I got some in Louisiana, and then me and my cousin run Stovall Athletics here in the Auburn area, Gadsden area, Birmingham area. Do a lot of lessons, do a lot of big camps because Tyler has met a bunch of people through all of his sporting endeavors. So I'll tell you a little story about him. He got drafted in 2008, played for 5 years with the Braves, got traded to the Royals, played a year with them, got released. Really smart guy, was a valedictorian of his class, everything. So he wanted to go back and get his degree. So he went to Auburn. School was paid for by the Braves.
Wow.
Couldn't do anything with baseball. So he had all kinds of offers and everything through high school football. He's bigger than I am. He's about 6'1", 6'2". And he ended up going to Auburn and joining the football team. Played football there for 4 years. Ended up being the holder for Daniel Carlson. for those 4 years.
Mhm.
Was the oldest player in the SEC. His last year there, he was like 29 years old and a senior. And
Wow.
yeah. And so he does a lot of specialist camps with the football stuff, but when I'm in town, we do all our baseball stuff. So I'm in control of the infielders and the hitters and the catchers, and he does the pitching aspect and outfield aspect. And but yeah, we cranking that up. It's fun. I enjoy doing it.
Is it in like age group, like young, high school, middle school?
Yeah, it's like probably like 7 to 18.
Okay. Yeah.
And he does a lot of stuff. He just started doing agility stuff, and he's got a bunch of kids on Auburn's football team that he works with and all that good stuff with all that. So
it's a good guy to do a camp with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a middle school teacher by day. So working with the kids and doing that kind of stuff is always fun to hear, and seeing the professional athletes doing their thing during the off season is pretty cool. We are running up on time, so I'm going to ask you one last question. Okay. We always like to end our sessions with some fun, easy questions. So I guess maybe one or two. What is your like best baseball memory for you?
Probably winning the state championship my senior year of high school. When was that? Sophomore year of high school. That was pretty cool. Going to Omaha. I mean, I don't know. There's so many of them.
Right.
Going to Omaha was awesome. I don't know. I enjoy it all. That's baseball's fun. You sit here and you think about it, and it's just God, I could sit here and go on and on and on and on. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. All right. And then the last little question. You played in the Cape Cod League for a summer. Is it exactly like the movie Summer Catch with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jessica Biel?
Somewhat. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's definitely got the feel. You kind of have a feel when you're watching that movie and I grew up watching that movie. I love that movie.
I watch it every summer.
Actually going and being able to play and going to Wareham and Chatham and all that stuff. It was really cool. But yeah, it's definitely kind of, because I mean you got the scouts, hundreds of scouts all at every game, and it's definitely it's got the feel of the movie 100%.
Is it a little small towny?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Type of stuff.
Yep.
Oh, I knew it. All right. I appreciate you, Hunter, hanging out with us.
Sir.
Good luck in the off season. You got us as new fans, and we're going to be following you along, and just hope to see you in purple soon, man. This was fun.
Sir. Thank you all for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Take care,
sir.
man.
Good to meet y'all.
You too. Thank you for tuning in. Find more content at BlakeStreetBanter.com.